What's going on YouTube? 7ozTheProducer coming at you. Here to work on some music. Gonna be using my DJ-505, my MicroKorg I picked up in Japan, a Korg M1, and of course, Ableton Live. Stay tuned. Hey, what's up guys? 7ozTheProducer here. Just wanted to say thanks for hanging out, checking out my channel, and yeah, this is gonna be a little bit of my workflow. Let you see how I operate. I'm a big fan of synthesizers and drum machines, and I feel like I have a really great tool in my studio, and I'm gonna get further in on its production abilities. But for now, I'm gonna talk about my DJ-505. So obviously it is a DJ control unit for Serato. That was a design built by Roland and Serato coming together. And they have the big brother version, the 808, and then the small brother version, the 202. The 505 is dead center, great for the price point. Excellent sounding drum machine. It's got the sequencer in there, it's tactile, so I can actually like dial in my beats. Now the only issue that I have with this guy is it doesn't have multiple outputs. You get just the single channel coming out into whatever channel you're bringing in. So my kick and snare is obviously what I'm really keeping out of here. There's great patterns, but I have other samples for that. So the way I operate is I actually use MicroKorg, really cool limited edition black and red that I scored in Japan recently. This guy actually doesn't have a USB, so I use a iConnectivity Neo, running that guy in there. Audio is running through the mixing part of the DJ-505, which is awesome because I have an Apollo Duo Mark 1, but it only has 2 channels. So I got a few synths in this place. This guy's running in through here, it's coming through here, and I set up an external instrument so I can get my Korg sounds, if you can see right here. Boom, Mio, channel 1. Also, I can run my MIDI directly from my push 2, which is the center of my production studio. So bringing in my kick and snare was pretty easy. I actually brought it into one channel, as you can see here. I'm going to show you the clip. This was the original clip that I brought in. And I'll just play this guy right here. That would lead into me creating slices and putting them into their own places. Now you see that's a stereo and this one's in mono. That reason is because I did tune them to G, but they came in a little sharp, and I always double check, so I melodined it. As you can see, melodined there in my tuner. And yeah, when I process, I freeze, and then I just make the copy, I pull it down, and it comes in stereo. Now, a big thing I always check for is for any transient issues and fades. This is a good habit to have, just to make sure that you're not messing up that beautiful attack on the 808. Now, for time purposes, I'm not going to go here and edit, but it is something that I will do. And here's my snare, same thing. I'm going to go and I'm going to check. You can see there's a couple little fades I kind of got in there. But for the most part, these guys sound great, and I'm very impressed by that sequencer, and that's why it's become my external drum machine. I have a couple, but this guy's one of my favorites. Now, to add to my drums, I needed hi-hats. Now I would love to use the hi-hats from the
DJ-505, but I do have a sound library that I really dig, so I'm going to stick with it. And the way I do that is I bring in my sample, I melodyne it, make sure it's in key. Once it's tuned, I drop it into a simpler, which is back here, and I actually sliced it by region. So this guy is going to trigger the different pieces of here. So it makes it really fun and creative. That's why you see there's minimal amount of MIDI information in there. And you can hear the Max for Live convolution reverb and a couple other units in my rack with my favorite friend utility there. Processing. So this is more kind of like for ambience and background to my overall beat, which we'll listen to in a moment. Now I'm just setting that guy up so you can see I'm using a pack from the Beat Tools kit that they released a little over a year ago. It was a contest that Ableton had. It was really awesome. And, you know, once they released 10 with the overhauled sound library samples, I use this a lot in productions. I like to mix in the kits and do a little tweaking. With this guy, I'll let you hear what's going on. I don't do much at first, but there is a vocal sample in here. The Vox high low azimuth. And what I did with this guy is I put an arpeggiator before, just had it at 4 steps, going at 1/8 rate, and feeding out to an echo inside the rack. Cranked up the reverb, just brought it down to less than 20%. And yeah, I really like it because I like setting up the ambience for anything that's R&B, bass, hip hop, chill step before I get that far into it. Now, as you can see right here, labels my M1 synth. That's this guy to the left of me, but one of the greatest synths that I think that came out of the late 80s. Lots of hits were made with this guy. Now, the keys on it are not my favorite versus my Yamaha S80, but sounds are amazing. And this sound in particular, it's just a preset that I found I liked. I brought it in through my external instrument, and this guy is called Pop, and it's awesome. Like, I mean, honestly, I'd probably spend hours upon hours in Serum trying to make this exact sound, or, you know, maybe if the emulation was good enough, use Korg Gadget, which I definitely need to get my hands on. Either way, just to support that, I got a little bit of like some lead sound coming off my MicroKorg, which I should probably label, and just to kind of feed into the ambient sound of it all. I did do a little tweaking on my part over here. I changed the wave that I'm using coming out of the MicroKorg and the cutoff time. So I wanted it to be a little bit more open, kind of like droney in the back. And then here you can see that I have some MIDI information being fed. And this is being fed through my Korg instrument. I have Kickstart running on it. It's a copy of this top one. These are the bass notes. Bass notes that are feeding into the audio input. And I tracked in a side-chained bass from the MicroKorg. Really cool, nice fat sound. Really cool. I got to change I changed it to a sine wave. I'm all about that fat warmth. And I'm getting some really great gain staging. I'm at 11 o'clock on the Korg. I'm feeding into both channels on the accessible channels on my DJ-505. I'm at 12 o'clock on that gain, and then these guys are being fed into their channel at 12 o'clock. So I'm just very cautious about how much gain I'm using because I'm trying to avoid distortion. There is little crackles and stuff that can happen because they're synthesizers. This is a real analog synthesizer. There's little peaks and stuff. If you notice, there's actually a peak monitor on your external instrument plugin in Ableton, which is awesome because it's something that you don't think about, but eventually you learn to really pay attention to. So without further ado, let me show you guys what I got going on here. So I definitely was going for like an R&B influenced hip hop beat, and I really felt chill vibes when I was coming up with the original idea. I was thinking about progressions. Should I go 251, 215, etc. There's a little switch up on the hats, trying to bring up the energy. But this is a great starting point for me, and I'm definitely going to further this production. And once I get it to the next stage, I'll be happy to share. Leave a like or comment, guys, and you just might win some Ableton swag. And also, I put events on here in Houston. If you're in Houston or surrounding areas, reach out. Let's talk. Let's share information. Thank you so much. You guys have a good one.